Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Two, where each and every episode that I do on this show, and also I apologize, my hair is very, very messed up than usual. It's getting a little bit warmer here in New York, so it becomes more difficult than ever to comb my hair and make it look good. It's difficult to look good on camera. It really is. Also, the lighting sort of doesn't really help me out that much. But however, you're not here for my hair. You're here because you saw the title, and yes, I am reviewing this time Katy Keene Season 1, a no spoilers review. If you want to hear my full thoughts on the season, episode by episode, talking about it specifically, with spoilers, check out my episode reviews, because we have just recently wrapped our Season 1 coverage of Katy Keene on our channel. So check them out. All 13 episode reviews are on there. Go check them out. But however, if you're a newcomer and you just want to hear my overall thoughts on it, or if you're just curious as well, what were my overall thoughts on the season after watching every single episode, you come to the right place. It's always bittersweet when these shows come to an end. It's crazy how much time can pass when I began Katy Keene episode 1 back in early February, and now here we are, end of May, having wrapped up the first season of Katy Keene, and I'm hopefully that we will get to come back for a second season in the near future. Hopefully. Bit of a little confusion on that on the CW's part. I'll explain more on that the next video, but it's a little confusing on their wording. Anyway, so to start things off, what were my barrel line thoughts? Well, for me personally, when I was going into Katy Keene, it was for two reasons. One, it was because yes, it was the latest addition to the Archieverse, where it is consisting of Riverdale and Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So I've already watched both shows, so I'm just curious to see how would this show be different. Also, we got a character from Riverdale coming into Katy Keene. How do we see that transition? And I was just very curious. Plus, on a review perspective, having just wrapped another musical-ish show, well, a full musical show compared to this one, which has elements of a musical in it, but it's more lighthearted. At the end of the day, it was the right continuation for me to watch, and it was just such a breath of fresh air for me, because when you're coming from, and this is my only comparison on it, because I know people don't like it when it's weird, because like when you compare Arrow to The Flash, yes, they are in the same universe, but you shouldn't really talk about them when you're comparing the shows, because you have to let the show you're talking about let it show itself in front of that. But it's kind of difficult when you are part of this established franchise, this established universe. You kind of have to make those comparisons to kind of understand what you're talking about. So from a perspective, Katy Keene Season 1 was, by and large, so much better than Riverdale Season 4 was, because it just focused more on the characters and their interactions together, which is something that the creator, Roberto Figueroa, I believe that's his name. I know he has another last name, but I'm butchering it. I'm so sorry. I'm horrible at pronouncing names. But he usually does a bang-up job when it comes to crafting these when we get to these scenes, when we get all the main characters together. That's the one I want. And that's kind of what I was lacking of Riverdale, because Riverdale was mostly into or giving each of these characters their own storyline, and they'll interact with some of the other supporting character, maybe cross-pollinate with another main character, but usually they're on their own. So when we do get those special scenes where we see all the four friends together, it's such a treat. But here on Katy Keene, it's much more often, and we get to see it more prevalently as we get these scenes, and it's a supporting scene, because you're seeing these characters, these best friends, really rely on each other for support, for emotional need, for whatever. It's always a solid treat to see that even when I was 9 episodes into the first season, and there was one episode in particular that we didn't see the girls, the friends together, and it kind of wasn't, it did not sit well with me, because I was so used to seeing these characters together, and thankfully they managed to recuperate that in the next episode. But it was just so weird and to think about and to see. So that was kind of again, this is another example of when, you get these characters and you are really invested in their story, but also their connection to one another. You love to see that, and even in the marketing for the promotion for Katy Keene specifically, we get to see the four friends, Katy, Pepper, Josie, Jorge. They all get to be together, and that's honestly the selling point for this entire show. And I don't think this show could really work without. I know it's called Katy Keene, but in reality, the friend group that we see throughout these 13 episodes was probably the defining factor for this show. If we're all saying and done in terms of what I was trying to speak. So in story wise, in terms of Archieverse, being in present day us, Katy Keene, we flung into 5 years into the future. So for me, this is another important show because it's filmed in New York City, and I love New York City. It's my city. I love when shows film here, like Gotham and Daredevil and all the other Marvel Netflix shows. I love it when these shows film here because I get to see like my own locale, my own locations pop up in show. And it's just a great feeling to have. And I feel like this show definitely gave an accurate representation of New York. We definitely get to see that. It's not in the boroughs, not in the areas that I'm personally used to. This is more of a Manhattan story. We do get a brief trip to an actual borough within the pre-Long Island, that area, the 5 boroughs of New York. We had a little side trip there, but that was just a side trip. And again, if I'm only spoiling stuff, it's in the very first episode. I'm not talking about anything post later on, because again, if you are watching this for the first time, just curious to see like, oh, Katy Keene, about to be on HBO Max. Should I watch it or not? Spoilers, you should. However, I'm just trying to not spoil as much because I don't want to ruin the magic and the story of the show. So the story is centered around, of course, our titular character, Katy Keene, in New York City, where she's pretty much living the pre-dream life, where she has this amazing group of best friends, she has an amazing boyfriend, she has the job, a job that she's been idolizing all her life, working at a department store that her and her mom used to visit to and get inspiration from for their fashion designs, and as well as she is also an inspiring fashionista. She wants to be a designer, she wants to be making dresses, she wants her dream to eventually have her dresses inside Lacey's up for display. That's her dream. And that's the whole theme about this show, is dreams. Every character we see has a dream, so to speak. Whether it's some are obvious compared to some that are very, very quietly said, but you kind of get to see what the point is. And even like every single character, like we see them have their dream, and we see either their journey of trying to get to that dream, or we see how they didn't get to reach that dream, or or the journeys they had to go for. We get to see that, and it was cool to see. I really love Dreams. Not the game. Actually, I have no opinions on the game, but in terms of like just dreams and stuff, like it's a really great motivational thing to have when you're pushing these characters forward, because you want to see that. You want to see these characters move towards something, get to a destination. And our core 4 are Golden Girls, as I called it on the episode reviews, which were Katy, Jorge, Josie, and Pepper. Their dreams are very much stated from the very first episodes, and, getting to see their journeys. And, obviously, here's the thing. The pilot episode, the first episode, it will give you, like, the assumption that, they're going to get these dreams rather quickly. Absolutely not. As well as, this is New York City. This can be the best place to spend your dreams when you reach it, but getting there is another different task. Let me tell you what. So I do give them credit. So we slowly, as the show begins, we sort of get to see the very beginnings of Katie's world. But as many things would lie, we get to see things evolve, but also end. And I'm being very vague about this because I'm trying not to spoil anything, but that's the thing that, like, it's not always hunky-dory. It's not always, roses and, peaches, if that makes any sense. We do see moments of, actual, sometimes you have to stumble a little bit before you can get back up and get stronger. And the characters you see in the beginning of the season, towards the end of the season, are very much not departures, but evolutions of where they have to be at the end of, at least this chapter, this book. And when we do get to see these characters move past the beginning episodes, it was a very much interesting to see where they were going to go, considering the fact that each of their dreams are very difficult in their own right to reach, but it's the journey, and you get to see them like stumble and fall. And again, this is your typical television show, so obviously they're going to stretch things out for the sake of getting more episodes. Where I highly doubt we're gonna get to scenes about Katy becoming a fashion designer. I feel like if we eventually do get that final episode, it will be like they get their dreams, we see a very small peak, and then we're done. That's it. And that's what I want the show to be. That's like, this is a show about Katy and her friends working towards their dream. This is not going to be an easy task. They're all in their young 20s. They have many more years to go before they get to that point. And that was the thing that was keeping me going. As there was a couple, like a very, not like steep, but like a very middle slump, like just for a couple episodes in my opinion, when we got towards the beginning, and we were in between the beginning and the end. And it didn't discourage me, because obviously I was doing these reviews, so I could not stop. But in terms of like, a personal motivation, it's like, okay, there's probably a reason for this. We're going to get through this, and it's going to be better for it. So let's talk about the characters. We'll start from I'm starting from everyone that's on the posters to our titular character, because I kind of want to work my way to the core of our show. So I'll start with the twins. The twins. If you get that Age of Ultron line, I respect you even more. So the twins, played by what was their names? The Cabot twins. It was a very weird marketing ploy. It was like they were twins, and then an interesting development happens, and it's like, wait, what? And it's like, oh, that makes sense. Again, I'm being so vague and coy right now because I don't want to be any fake. Alexandra Cabot, and there's Alex Cabot. It was a coincidence, and also a very clever ploy. But then, as you see, I won't spoil more. But Alexandra, first episode alone, is your typical, rival character. She's very much against Josie, which is like, these two are going to butt heads a lot during the season, and they have two very different personalities, two very different backgrounds, two very different mindsets, and they clash with each other. And Alexandra, you kind of love to hate her. Like, she's a really hateful person. She's a hated person, and seeing her like get what she wants, but it's kind of weird because like the actress, I actually seen the actress before on Power Rangers Dino Charge, and she played a completely different character than that. And also, I'm probably one of the only people that it's, when you're reviewing Katy Keene reviews, like, I'm probably the only person mentioning that, oh, this actress was on Power Rangers. How do I know this? Because I watched it. And you can't silence me. I know you were on Power Rangers. Deal with it. Anyway, so to get back to my original point, the actress Camilla High, she actually does a really good job of playing that character. Even it was quite difficult to understand her, because there was another show I reviewed where you expect this character to be very much not liked throughout the entire run. Like, it was kind of weird to see the direction of her, because again, I never knew, like, is she gonna grow into like someone you're gonna like, someone you want to understand? Like, I could not understand whatsoever. I really couldn't. Even and this is not really a spoiler, like, even when we see her by the end, it's like, it's still up for debate, to be completely honest with you. But again, I think the actress did a really good job. And as for Alex, Alex sadly seemed like your typical, like, character that's just telling the other character, hey, listen, we're gonna get this. They just keep repeating the same information. And honestly, I honestly think Alex might be the weakest character in the show, to be honest with you, in my opinion. I respect his action. I respect the actor. I respect the character we were getting. It's just, out of everyone else, it's like, it was kind of really hard to get really sold on Alex. Like, I mean, he's your typical good-looking guy, he gets the girls, but he has his own dreams, but, he's kind of has some issues. That was all well and fine, but I don't know. I never really was necessarily sold on it. I do have faith for him, though. Potentially wise. Again, I can't spoil much, but I still believe in the character, and I still want to see what they'll do with him when we do come back, if we do come back. But I felt like the character was kind of like, just like, I don't want to say it's just like a mouthpiece, but I just want to say that he just talked a lot. And he said a lot. And, he did some actions, he did some cool things. I mean, he's a really nice dude, but I don't know. I really can't explain it well, if I'm being honest with y'all. Then a couple of other secondary characters that I won't get into. Oh my god, Francois. I like Francois. He was a really cool character, really cool cat, as the kids say nowadays. Is that what the kids say nowadays? I'm not sure. I'm 22 years old. I'm very out of it, to be completely honest with you. Francois, he's a very nice dude. You know, given his he works at Lacey's. You know, he helps Katy out a lot. And Katy doesn't even give him the near amount of respect he deserves. Like, I'm being completely honest with you right now. Like, Francois deserves more. He really does. And then we have Gloria, who's kind of the head of the Lacey's day-to-day operations, the personal shopper, which was always a very weird position for me to understand growing up. But I mean, Gloria was the character that honestly I was like, she was gonna be our typical like villainous, you know, boss, you know, that's suddenly villainous because of the sake of the show. And then as you progress, you start to see the humanity of her, and you actually start to like her. And she kind of defies what a boss character should be and would be. So that was really cool to see. And then you have other characters like Guy, and I'm only talking about characters in the first few episodes. I won't go beyond that. Guy was pretty cool as well. Ironically, Guy, again, a weird name for a man. I don't know why. He played another character on Sabrina, another Archieverse show. So people thought, oh my god, is this the character from Sabrina? It's like, and it's like, no, it's just the actor just got cast in the project and it was conveniently in the same universe. That's all it was. It wasn't really like, oh, it was meant to tie in the universe. Like, no, not at all. But anyway, so. And then we get to, I think we move into like, now we're talking about the main core characters. Like the one who's kind of like before the core four was KO. And my god, KO, like this is not like, how about this? I'll say I have a man crush on him. Let me say that much. Because literally this guy is the perfect definition of an actual man. This is a man. And I'm not talking about physique. I'm not talking about muscles. I'm not talking about looks. I'm talking about personality, understanding, and emotional connection. Like, this is a true, smart human being. Where it's like, okay, they could have easily played the typical, like, he's a really buff, handsome dude, but he's kind of a dum-dum. They could have played that route. They didn't. They actually gave him, you know, logistical thinking. Like, when Kenny is going through, like, you know, some things that a guy could easily miscommunicate and like create a problem that would be typical for any show like this. No, he completely understands the point, and he does the logical reaction to it, and it's like, oh my god, this is one of the smartest human beings I've ever met before in terms of street smarts. Like, why can't we get more of this guy? I mean, God, I love KO. I gotta tweet out to the actor. It's like, you played such a great character, and you know, I can't spoil more than that, but it's like, God, the man did so much for Katy. He really did. And God, why can't everyone be like KO? Why can't? But anyway, enough man crushing over. Let's move into the core four. No particular order. I'm just going in the order of how I perceive the order of story, so to speak. So we're gonna start with Jorge. So Jorge was someone, not really, again, Hispanic to Hispanic, so I can clearly connect with him, but he has his own different, like, you know, story to deal with, because he identifies himself as a, what was the terminology? Damn, this is why I have to be very careful with my words. What was the word? And again, I'm not trying to mean like I'm a very insensitive person. I just really don't know the word. I really don't know. Like, I'm also a dumbass sometimes. So he's gay. I'll just say that. I know there's a very more, another definition. I'm just going to say he's gay. And he's also a drag queen. So that's kind of, like, that was also something new. I've never, the drag queen element I've never seen before in other TV shows or movies. So this was a whole new world for me to understand it. And I always loved learning about new things, and definitely seeing that world was very much of it was a good experience. It was a good experience to learn that, and we get to see Jorge. His dream is to be on Broadway as a dancer, but like many things, things will change. And he deals with normal society problems when it comes to people who identify as, gay, as well as, being a drag queen. You're bound to get some social problem. Because here's the thing that I don't understand. This is also another akin thing to real life conversation here, is that I still don't understand. Like, we live in 2020 and in this world, 2024, 2023, around that time period, where it's like, and there's still people who are against this. When has people not run away with the fact that, can you just let a person be happy? Like, I just don't understand. Like, come on, just let them be happy, doing what they love, and leave it alone. They're not bothering anyone. They don't have to bother you. You're seeking out the problem, and then you criticize whenever they do something against you. It just makes no sense. It really doesn't. Anyway, real life talk over. Back to the show. I really like Tori as a character. I feel like he made some stupid mistakes, but again, like young adults like me do, we are prone to make stupid mistakes, but he also makes some really smart choices and some brave choices, and I respect that about him. And he gets a certain he gets some story beats later on in the season that will really test him in a way, and yeah, that's all I can say about him. But because I don't want to spoil things, but that's how they made the way he was written, was smart, and also like, a little bit like, again, these are young adults. Young adults are not perfect. We're still young. We're still learning how it is to be adulting. So keep that in mind. Then Pepper. Pepper's been a very interesting beast, especially as when again, I gotta speak very vague here about Pepper, considering the fact she pretty much is the semblance of, having the perfect life. That she works for a newspaper company. She has supposedly a penthouse suite at a very big hotel. She's working on a collaborative artiste place to allow everyone in the artistic field to come and present their works. And, she has all these major connections. Like, that was the way her character was sold on. And I won't say much into it because it's a spoiler, but the promotional material and the writers did such an amazing job to convince us as viewers to let us think that this is what this character is like, when in reality, there might be more to this character than we thought of. And the way they kind of wrapped that up, it was a very smart decision. And, everyone learns a lesson here, and, even she does. And again, I'm not trying to spoil things, but I really like the journey Pepper went on throughout the entire season. And she's always very weird but very funny, and how does she get out of these problems is always baffling. But I give her a lot of credit for doing some of the things she's done on the show. And then Josie. Josie was she was kind of the main character to kind of keep an eye on, because again, when you're transitioning from one show to another show, you gotta have to notice what are things different about this Josie compared to Riverdale Josie. And obviously with the grown-up factor, when, aging up the character, you get to see a lot of, offhand character development between the two shows, and then you get to see a whole new batch of development for her, where despite her knowledge of how usually this is not how things work, she gets the perception of thinking, oh, maybe this could be it, and then having reality swipe under you, and then having to deal with, many more challenges, many more adaptions, many more changes, but having the constant of the Golden Girls, her Katy and friends in her life, was definitely the one thing to kind of, stabilize her and, keep her going. Then I think on the other show she would have been able to do it. And I'm really proud of Josie, and the development she had this season. And I'm really curious to see how things will pick up for her as we hopefully will get another season some point down the line. And Katy, our titular hero. Katy Keene is she's just that one girl where it's she is not perfect. Katy Keene is not this perfect representation of how things would be. She's a very nice person, and but she believes in her dreams, and that's her motivation. That she and her mom had this dream. And this is spoken in the first lines of the episode. It's not a spoiler. Her mom sadly passed away some time ago. And, she's been dealing with, adapting to life without her mother. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. But you also want to respect the legacy your mother left for you, and try to forge your own legacy to honor her as a person. That's kind of what she's been driving towards. And, she's at the very dead center of, like, doing what she thinks might be great for her, but also following her dreams. And that's always in constant battle with that she deals with throughout this season. And I give Lucy Hale, the actress, a lot of credit for kind of, trying to, like, get through those moments. And there are plenty of moments where, like, she really goes on all out in the acting. It's like, wow, this is an actress with a lot of experience. And, that made the story and, the character so much better as a result. And, yeah, I love seeing her grow. I love seeing her, have your typical, like, young adult, events and issues, but then having her deal with her unique, specific issues and then having the ability to get through it. And all in all, she was a really great character. I think Lucy Hale did a really good job of, creating this character as her own and, making sure that this character stayed true to herself, as well as, making sure that this is the right character to tell the story and and to tie it all in. And it worked. It really did work. And yeah, I really love these characters. I really do. I'm very generic, but guess what? I can't spoil anything, so I'm very tight-lipped here. What was my favorite episode this season? I believed it was... What was my favorite episode this season? It's towards the end. I think it's the finale that was probably my favorite episode this season, because the way it tied up the whole season together, it kind of tightened it up, and as well as giving some air to kind of breathe for more storylines for season 2. My least favorite episode was kind of in the middle part. There was an episode where it was an experimental formatting, and I just didn't like it. As well as there was an episode where it's not really... I don't really have a problem with the episode, but there was an episode where a Riverdale cameo appeared. And the problem is that I know we had like a couple of other Riverdale cameos this season, but the problem is this one in particular, it kind of brought in a little bit too much of Riverdale, so it was like, oof, I kind of didn't like this at the end. But I liked most of the episode, but just that segment was like, kind of really felt out of place. And yeah, I think that's all I can say. Overall, I really enjoyed Katy Keene season 1. I really did. I feel like it was a breath of fresh air, to say the least. And this is just the positive upliftingness that a lot of people would need right now, especially during these times. And at least saying that, look, achieving your dreams is hard, but the journey there, it's always worth it. You're gonna learn a lot, and it's just a good feeling to see this come about, and seeing these characters, work towards something, and fight for it, and cherish the journey that they've already experienced, and hopefully the many more they will. And yeah, so for me, I give it 2 thumbs up. I highly recommend this season. So if you want to see Katy Keene season 1, you can catch it on the CW app, on CW.com, but then eventually by May 27th, because this is going to be posted, I believe, soonish, so before May 27th, so you can catch Katy Keene, the full first season, on the brand new streaming platform, HBO Max. So go check that out. It's gonna really, help chances for season 2, and as well as being able to see this story continue to unfold, hopefully at some point in 2021. But with that being said, I think that's gonna do it for me. So again, if you're unaware, this was What's on the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see what else we do on What's on the Tube, we do DC Stargirl episode reviews each and every Thursday after a brand new episode on Monday on DC Universe, and also after a brand new episode on Tuesday nights on the CW, so you pretty much have 2 ways to watch it. We were doing rookie episode reviews every Monday after a brand new episode on Sunday on ABC. However, because of the season's over, I'm doing some wrap-up stuff for that, and then, we'll get to a new show in June, which I'll announce there, but at least right now I'm not really ready to announce that. But if you only care about Katy Keene stuff, well, we have one more Katy Keene review coming up. Next time we're reviewing, we're predicting what hopefully will be in Katy Keene season 2, what I hope to see in it, what characters I would like to see go through, and maybe even some other Riverdale cameos, such like that. So that will all be in next week's edition, and then after that I'll kind of wrap up our Katy Keene content for this television season, or at least for this stretch of a season. Then we're gonna branch off into something else in June. But until then, Yeah, I guess that was it. So again, if you're unaware, this was What's on the Tube from ActionX. So again, please subscribe if you want to. Like, favorite, share this review if you want to. Please, it really does help us out. Ring the bell for notifications when we have a new review live. Follow us on social media feeds to keep up to date. And I'll see you, Golden Girls, next time for the last time for this year as we talk about what we hope to see in season 2. And also let me know in the comments, what did you think of season 1? Or are you going to watch season 1 on HBO Max or on the CW app somehow before the 27th? Because after that, it's gone. So you might want to hurry up there. So anyway, again, let me know in the comments. I'm always open to conversation. And I'll see you, Golden Girls, next week for the last time. So peace out.